Please say sadhu 3 times. Say namo tassa bhagavato arahato. Please repeat after me. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyang pi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyang pi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyang pi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyang pi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyang pi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyang pi sanghang saranang gacchami. Pānātipātā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinādānā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccācārā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Suramēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Let us now join our palms together, or continue joining our palms together to recite the verses of offerings to the Supreme Buddha, to offer these lights, candles, fragrances and flowers. Also with these offerings, we are offering the drinks for the evening drinks to the Supreme Buddha. So with these intentions in mind, let us recite the gathas together to make these offerings. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavā arahang sambuddho vijjācarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sārathi sattha deva buddho bhagavāti. Swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehi opanaiko paccattang veditabbo vinyuhiti. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka Ujjupatipanno Nyāyapatipanno bhagavato Sāmīci patipanno bhagavato sāvaka Yadidang chattari purisa yogani attha purisa Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo Dakhineyo anjali Anuttarang punyakhetang lokassati Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbadhanesu patitthitang Saririka dhatu mahabodhing Buddha rupang lang sada Ghana sarappadintena Dīpena tamadang sina Tiloka dīpang Pujayami tamonudang Gandha sambhara yuttena Dhupena hang sugandhina Pujaye pujaniyantang Puja bhajana Vanna gandha gunopetang Etang kusuma santating Pujayami munindassa Siripada Pujemi buddhang kusumena nena Punyena metena ca hotu mokkhaṃ Pupphaṃ milayati Kāyo tathāyati vināsa bhāvaṃ Adhivāsetu no bhante Pāniyaṃ upanāmitaṃ Anukampaṃ patiganhātu uttama Adhivāsetu no bhante gilāna paccayaṃ imaṃ Anukampaṃ upādāya patiganhātu Imina punya kammena Bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu Yava nibbana pattiya Okay. You can now relax. If you want to move to a chair, please feel free to do so anytime. You don't have to suffer on the floor in a cushion. There we have chairs, enough chairs, I believe. If you don't find one, please raise your hand and ask anybody. They will guide you to finding a chair. So that said, we are gathered today in memory of Mr. Sri Lal Gunapala Mahatma, who said goodbye to us a couple of days ago. He passed away on July 14th this year, and today, guess July 19th, it's been about 5 days. It is the Buddhist custom in Sri Lankan tradition, Sri Lankan Theravada Buddhist tradition, to come together at the temple like this. In this case, it's a closed a private family group only were invited for this occasion. If this was an open event, so many would have filled this shrine room, but the family decided to hold this private 7 days Dharma sermon at the temple in memory of Sri Lal Gunapala Mahatma. He was the beloved husband of Vipula Nona, the loving father of Gitmi and loving father of Tenuk, the son of late Mr. Dharmasena and Mrs. Juliet Gunapala, brother of Deepa and Sudesh, son-in-law of Mrs. Yasomala Gunasekara Nona, and brother-in-law of Visani and Vidula. And Mr. Srilal Gunapala was a devoted supporter of this West End Buddhist temple since its inception. So today, Nayaka Hamdruo made sure that this event happens here and that no other event will be happening in this shrine room, and that monks from I think Detroit temple, right, came today to participate in the funeral service. Right, you had it today, right? So and Bhante Sarnapala and many other couple of other monks were there, and you must have been present in that occasion. I know it's raw, it's painful, and I see I've never seen. I specifically saw Senuli's eyes red, and a couple of other people's, and that is the reality in our hearts at this moment. And I like to say this, that grief is the measure of your love toward the loved ones. This grief that is coming out of your heart shows that you love him deeply, and that there is nothing wrong with that loving feeling that you commonly share at this moment. And this grief never leaves us. And I believe that we don't want that feeling to leave. We are not pushing it away. We only learn to grow around it. And it takes time. So we develop patience, we cultivate the virtue of patience during these times, and that the whole family and the dearest ones come together in supporting the family in whatever capacity you can, because that's kind of the best gift you can give at this moment: your presence, your time, your understanding, and your care. And these are very precious qualities that you are bringing to this room today, and that you continue to share in the coming days and months and years. Of course, when Visani Nona she approached me a couple of days ago, I was in Buffalo coming back to Toronto, that without expecting any such thing to happen, that she reached out to someone in Sri Lanka, and we have a tradition of writing something auspicious poetically and reciting it to deities. So these are called Set Kavi in Sri Lanka. She wanted to make sure that this is read properly, and that she wanted me to read it in Sinhalese. And she sent the recording, and I listened to it, and I did it myself. And we only did it just one day, and then the next day we heard the news. this sudden passing and the way that it all unfolded is so fast. Definitely, it's never in our control. When someone says goodbye, it's like a light that leaves a candle. It's not possible for us to put our palms like this and hold the light. We can try, but the light won't stay. So there are things like that. Death is one of them. Illness is another. And parting from the dear ones is definitely a painful experience, and we cannot stop that from happening. If we try to stop any of these things, we are thinking that we have some control over such things. We don't. And I like to say that there is a way to look at this experience in Buddhist point of view. We say that our expectations are one thing and reality is another. Always in our human experience, there is a gap between expectations and reality. The bigger the gap is, bigger our pain will be. The thinner the gap is, more closer we will be to reality. So we cultivate a mind that is able to witness this experience, not with the opened eyes, but with eyes closed, so that we are able to see it with wisdom eyes and experience, this is the truth. The truth is that things rise and fall. There is birth and there is also an ending to what is born. So that is when we realize that all we can do is to accept this as a truth. When we accept it, we kind of give a little break to our own hearts, and we can try to slightly focus on what could be done by us. In a way, in Buddhist thinking, we don't really show that we are crying even in a funeral setting. Some of us think that when that happens, we are kind of holding the person from continuing to a more relieved, more freed space of being. That Buddhists do think that there is a continuation. In that continuation, we want them to experience the best. We want them to reach the highest possible level that they can reach. So we rely on their merits and our own merits. So the fuel that we share is the kind of merits. And merits is synonymous with rejoicing in a good deed. Good karmic influence have an impact on this continuation. So we Buddhists believe that we are born human beings because of our fortunate karma, that we are born as human beings with such capabilities because of our former good karma, and that this karma, when the karmic energy that we accumulate over the many years of doing good things go with us. Nothing else materially can go with us. You can bury all your wealth, precious things, precious jewelries with you, but they won't come with you. They will definitely stay there, just lying there. But the fuel of merits that you have pumped yourself with will continue to go. That is how Buddhists do believe about the continuation and the concept of merits. That's why 7 days after or on the day of the funeral service or 3 months after a year after or whenever you can, you engage in merit-making events. So one of the merit-making events is a Buddhist monk giving a sermon on the day that everybody gathers. And you do that also on the day of the funeral service, and that you continue to do it whenever you can. Together with that, you invite the monks to receive a meal on your family's behalf. Of course, Vipula Nona is not in her best mindset. She depended solely on the support of her beloved husband. And that means when that strength is no more, she needs the support of everybody to prepare all these things, especially the meal offering that you will do tomorrow morning or at the Monday. Okay, I thought it's happening tomorrow. Yeah. Temple had 4 losses like this that happened very close. So we are kind of dealing with the shortage of monks needing to be present in these events. But we are managing okay. So on Monday there will be that service where monks are invited to partake in a meal. And that also is believed to be one of the highest merit-making events in Buddhist lives. So I mentioned earlier about the truth and facing the truth and accepting it as our reality. So if I may, I'd like to ask this question from everybody. So the question is, where do we live? You can say that you live here in this shrine room right now, but where do we actually live? Each and every one of us has a physical location where we live. Right? Any other place where you live, can you think of? Yes, Gavin. You live in your own mind, which is an unlimited area. Will you agree with me? Nobody can see this space. We have a lot going on in our minds, and we don't want anybody to see them. Mind is, as I said, is an unlimited area, not limited like a house, a mansion, or a temple. That space can be 2 acres, 3 acres, 10 acres, and it's limited. In the mind, there is endless space, endless potential. And that in this mind, we have intelligence, and we call it buddhi, intelligence. So buddhi and Buddhism and awakening, these are intertwined. They are connected. When someone is awakened, they bring that buddhi to their fullest, 100% maximum level. The maximum level of understanding about what is true, and that one truth is that there is suffering in the world. And remember, I did not say that life is suffering. That's a misconception about Buddhism. Some people think that Buddha was talking about negative things, was super pessimistic. That is not true. Somebody talks like that, you should say, the Buddha spoke about happiness and the highest happiness one can achieve. So he was never negative. So how do we actually look at what the Buddha taught? Maybe that's something we can explore on a day like this. That way we learn something, we bring our current level of understanding to some greater level of understanding if possible, and that we rejoice in our understanding, and that we can share the merits of it. So in our mind space, we have our own regrets. worries, things that we don't want to talk about sometimes. Don't we? We all do. And we kind of bury this under the rugs of this mind home. You know, when you vacuum, you try not to vacuum under the rugs because it's too much work. We try to just push things under the table or someplace that, we think is just enough clean. But we are aware that there are things under these rugs that we can actually do clean. And in this mind home, there's also a kitchen where there's water boiling in a kettle, continuously boiling. And this boiling is called anger boiling in us. That is sometimes for some people, they are consistently, every day, they express frustration in their hearts, that they don't have a freedom, they don't have any freedom from that frustration. So that is also a thing that can happen in their mind space. So past worries, anger boiling, and our expectations being built up in this mind home. And these expectations bring some level of suffering in our own selves. And sometimes we suffer alone, sometimes we suffer with a friend or with a therapist. Sometimes there's no limit to this kind of suffering we may experience. When you even talk to a therapist, they will say, come back next week. Their time is limited. Or if you happen to be in Sri Lanka, you get free therapy from your neighbor. They always want to know what's going on in your lives, where are you going, when do you come back. That's kind of getting free therapy. Everybody knows what's happening with everybody. But here you don't even know the neighbor. You don't really want to bother them, you don't want to stare at them, you don't want to intrude their space, privacy. So that's a different experience, but which is also a very respectful way to live here. There's nothing wrong with it. Having said that, in our mind home, now we realize that there's a lot going on. So how do we then switch off that kettle that is all continuously boiling? How do we do that? It's all in our hands. We can't expect somebody to come and do it for us. It's a decision we make by ourselves. This is a very direct teaching of the Supreme Buddha. Attanava avikheya katani akatanicha. Investigate what you did and you didn't do. Suddhi asuddhi pachattam. Your own purity and impurity is your responsibility. Pachattam. Nanya manyo visode. Nobody else can come and do the cleaning of your mind home. You can't assign it to somebody and take a break. It's in your own mental space that you pause, investigate, accept, and realize what is going on. I mentioned about buddhi, intelligence, and that I like to state here that this intelligence gets hijacked. When a plane is hijacked, you don't have any control on this plane. It can be in a very dangerous situation. So your buddhi, your intelligence, when it is hijacked, it can get hijacked by a couple of things. Your anger. Your intelligence gets hijacked by lack of discipline, by emotions, by electronics, getting too involved with a world of electronics, mobile phones, they are called cell phones for a reason. They just lock us up in a cell-like space. And that our intelligence also gets hijacked if you are a teenager by hormones. Your decisions are influenced by what your body and hormones and chemicals do. So we kind of don't see the truth. We are kind of deceived, and that we don't know how to discern what should happen and what shouldn't happen. So there is a story that I like to share. There was this monk. He had a habit of complaining about every single noise in the world. So he said, I'm not going to meditate, there's noise today. So he wanted to find the quietest place to meditate. He decided, he was firm on his decision, he decided the quietest place would be in the middle of a lake where there won't be any sound, any noise. So he got on a canoe and went into the middle of the lake and he began meditating. And no soon, just before he entered a level of calm, he started hearing noises, unfortunately. Something was hitting against his canoe. He did not want to break his meditation. He did not want to look. So his mind started creating stories about what may be the sound, where it may be coming from. So his mind told him that these must be those fishermen. They don't know how important the work I do today. I came here to find the quietest place and meditate. Soon he saw his anger rising, anger coming, that he was overwhelmed with that anger. The noise kept coming. Some noise like talk. It was just something was hitting against his canoe. He was now ready to scream. And he opened his eyes only to see an empty boat hitting against his canoe. And then he came to a realization that all these noises out there in the world are like empty boats. It's us who build a story about it. And we tend to believe that story and react accordingly. This happens to all of us. Like you try to go to bed and you sleep and you start hearing noises from some neighbor, and your mind gives you a narrative about this experience. Your mind tells this could be this could be that. But all of these, if you believe on them, your mind also gives a way to react. And when you do react, your energy gets burnt and you become restless. You become not so free from that reacting energy. But our habitual tendency is to react. Just like this monk. If that happens to a monk, it can happen to anybody. We are all human beings and we have a conscious mind. In that conscious mind, we experience the world differently. And one may react to something lovingly and another may react to something with aversion, anger, frustration. So the choice is always ours. As I said, purity and impurity is our own responsibility. And this is a moment-by-moment experience. It's not something you do every year in a 10 days meditation retreat. You go to a 10 days retreat and you come clean. That's not possible. Of course, you will have a great meditation experience, but aside from that, it's always best to look within and choose something that is wholesome. And our choice here would be choosing loving kindness in the face of anger rising in your heart. And that's one of the greatest teachings of the Buddha. He kept telling monks and lay people, be free from anger, do not react. If someone yells at you, say thank you. And you can say, if somebody gives you a gift and you don't want it, the gift belongs to the giver. It's theirs. If somebody tries to throw anger at you, it just belongs to them. You leave it there. There's no piece of you belongs in that person's life. They must be going through something, and your choice would be to quietly radiate loving kindness to that person, wishing them healing, wishing them peace, freedom from whatever that they are dealing with, and radiating compassion to them, seeing that they suffer and that you have nothing to do with their suffering. So overcoming suffering is that moment by moment job, and it's internal job, it's internal responsibility. It's not done at the end of our lives. That's not why we practice. That's not why we come to the middle path. Middle path, I'm sure some of you may have heard. It's also called the Eightfold Path. And this is the way to purity in the Buddha's teachings. We can kind of revisit that teaching if you like to, and understand what can I do to really adhere to a practice like this. Middle path may sound like, okay, I don't want to eat too much, I don't want to eat too little, I may eat just enough. That's kind of a worldly middle path, like a choice about eating. It contributes to your cleansing, some discipline of course. The middle path is much broader than that, and starts with having a right understanding about how things happen in the universe. In that we understand that mind creates, manifests, brings about some suffering whenever there is any unrealistic expectation about the world. Will you agree with me? Mind can bring some suffering, some pain, whenever you want the world to be different from what it actually is. That's one way to look at the world. And when you look at it closely, you start to see, oh, it started in my own mind. That my wiseness or understanding can now unwrap and see what is actually happening in my own mindset, in my own mind. When you pause, take a step back and experience it, you do see that, this all started in my own mind, and that, there is also a way that this experiences arising, some kind of birth, and also passing away. That's a moment-to-moment experience. But most people only see the arising. When it's arisen, it also passes away. That passing is something that you can see. When you start to see it, that anger I had 3 days ago has now passed. It's not there anymore. So I don't have to identify with that anger. I don't have to label me as an angry person. Look, it's gone, and my mind is at peace, and I have equanimity, and I can radiate that equanimity into my own heart and to the world outside. Can you do that? You can. With that, you can choose to radiate loving kindness inwardly, outwardly. Loving kindness, when it does not include you, it's incomplete. So is compassion. When it does not include you, it's incomplete. So you are not pouring from an empty cup. You just fill your cup with loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, and pour from that cup. So without having something, you can give it. So you are cultivating these qualities continuously. And you are also bringing this understanding that things, of course, rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. This is a continuous thing. And that no one can stop this truth from happening. So there is the cessation of anything that is arisen, whether it is mental or in material world. And that you choose the path to purity, like this Eightfold Path. So these are, in other words, called Four Noble Truths. That you see suffering, you see that suffering arises because of our expectations, and that you see that, of course, when it's arisen, there is also cessation. And finally, you see, with that understanding, you can bring your heart, mind, back to a track of the middle path. These are truths that you can practice and look and investigate and understand the world with. Secondly, you start to develop a good mindset. These are called right thoughts. Mindset is everything. That abandoning anger, you choose loving kindness. This brings peace immediately to your heart. Abandoning cruelty, you bring compassion to your heart. Abandoning attachment, you bring letting go to your heart. When you let go like that, your speech also becomes something pure, something clean, something that is not heavy. You are not throwing verbal daggers to your friends, family, and relatives. Because you see the value of that understanding, you see that your thoughts are clean and pure, your speech also becomes clean. So I explained 3 aspects of the Eightfold Path already. With that, your actions become pure. Abstaining from killing, you instead start safeguarding all beings. All beings are safe in your presence. Abstaining from stealing things, you start safeguarding others' belongings. Abstaining from committing adultery, you start being faithful to your partner. Abstaining from telling lies, you start being truthful and kind. Abstaining from intoxicants, you let go of intoxicants and keep your mind mindful and fully present with you, with whatever you do. So these are actions you take. You are kind of going forward, cleansing, doing this inner cleansing and purifying your heart. And then this leads to making a kind of effort to maintain your wholesome energies, wholesome levels. So this is called the good effort that is fulfilling, that brings peace to your heart. With effort, you realize the value of full-mindedness. People say it is the mindfulness, but I like to say it's full-mindedness, being fully present with anything that rises and falls, anything you do, giving your fullest mind to something, 100% of your presence to something. This is called right mindfulness or full-mindedness. And this brings clarity to your mind. This brings samadhi, stillness of your mind. And you just you begin experiencing so much relief, and that you didn't wait until somebody did it to you. You started the process with right understanding, and you are experiencing the benefits of it. In it, everything is included. Loving kindness, compassion, these divine qualities are included in it. And that you did it, and you are seeing the benefit of it. When you see it clearly for yourself, you see it's not in my husband, it's not in my spouse, it's not in my friend, it's not in my brother. That anger is, or any impurity is in my own heart, and I can work on it, and I can live a life free from such tendencies. That's how this teaching works. So recently I was in the forest in St. Louis, and after 5 days of teachers' conference and meditation, we have about 2 hours to get to the city from Ozark Mountains. And we realized that the road was closed from one side, and on another side this other narrow road was open. And we could not overtake. There were these 5 vehicles ahead of us. So we were behind them, and my friend who was driving, Stuart, we were talking about this experience. In our own minds, we always have these 5 vehicles ahead of us, always, that it's hard to overtake and go to the front of it and leave them behind. It's hard. And one of these vehicles would be our attachments, taking things as mine, myself, identifying things. And another would be anger, always taking the lead. And the third would be wanting to sleep all the time, sloth and torpor, lack of sleep, or eating too much, or lack of food, being tired all the time. There's no time for that mind home to expand or to remain clean. And then another vehicle is restlessness, continuously worrying about things. And last, doubt. Doubting this practice, doubting about teachers, doubting about teachings. So these are like called 5 hindrances, 5 obstacles that are ahead of us. And you overtake one vehicle first. Now you have 4 ahead of you. And you overtake another, now you only have to deal with 3 ahead of you. And ultimately, now you are the leader. You don't have those obstacles behind you. You have the whole path clear, so you just drive freely with no obstacles. And what helps you is your own wisdom, knowledge, discipline, and awareness, being alert. So that was a great understanding for all of us as we were coming out of forest, coming out of a retreat, and discussing about, look, this is how the practice works. So for us, we take the steering wheel, we take that control to our own hands, and you can always say, I do this for Sri Lal Gunapala, our beloved friend, my beloved husband, father. I choose virtuous, good life, good karmic influence on me for you as a gift. I can't give something hand to hand. I can't give something materially, but I can always cultivate my mind home and keep it clean and dedicate that to you. So that is a good place to perhaps end our discussion. Well, we did not discuss, but my talk today. Do you have any questions? You can ask these questions if you have any. At the end of our water ritual, we are going to do a very small water ritual. Thank you all for coming. Please bring to heart all the things you did on behalf of this family, especially to support Vipula Nona, Gitmi, Tenuk, and all the relatives, beloved ones, known to you in whatever way. Thanking them for their presence, we also now thank the beautiful life shared by Sri Lal Gunapala Mahatma. We wish him a happy continuation. May he be free from suffering. In his future births, may he be rewarded with all his good karma and all our good karma. If he is lacking any merit in any place, may he be able to rejoice in our own good karma today and every day and uplift his mind, elevate his current level of existence, not worry about us, and be free and continue earning merits until he is free from the cycle of suffering. May all our departed relatives rejoice in our good karma. May they too be free from suffering. So with these intentions in mind, you can come closer and pour water into the little ball as if you are transferring merits symbolically to Mr. Sri Lal Gunapala Mahatma, your beloved husband, beloved father, uncle, or whatever the connection you have. Anyone else who wants to join can join them. And let us recite Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sagarang evameva ito dinnang petanang upakappati. Unname udakang vattang yatha ninnang pavattati evameva ito dinnang petanang upakappati. And please join your palms together, and I will recite one the other blessing chant in which I wish to offer you good health, longevity, and may you have abundance in whatever you wish to have in your life, materially, spiritually, emotionally, and in terms of fulfilling your life's goals and accomplishments. May good things happen to you. May heavenly angels, guardians protect you, guide you, and guard you always. May you all enjoy longevity, greatest of health, and all blessings in your lives. Abhivadana silis niccang vaddapachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha atho nibbana sampatti iminate samijjatu akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanang akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu tvang sada. Thank you for listening. With the end of this service, please feel free to stretch and get up.